Solve Leetcode question 739 daily temperatures, and basically they give you an array of integers. Temperature represents daily temperature, and return an array of answers such every number in this position is the number of the days that you have to wait after the number's day to get a warmer temperature. If there's no future day for which that is possible, then keep the answer equals to 0. So basically what it means is that the 73 is day 0, right? For it to get to a higher temperature, how many days it takes? 1 day, because the next value 74 is bigger, so that's why the answer is here. 75 is bigger than 74, so it's one day here, and 71 is not higher, right? If we are looking at this one here for the 75, and it takes 4 days to get a higher than the temperature 75, so it's 4 here. And then same thing as the 71, it take 2 days, 1 2. That's why the answer returning like this for the last few days, like 72 and there's 1, but 76 there's no days a higher temperature than that, you just keep it at 0. And the 73 there's nothing higher, you keep it at 0 as well. So that's why you keep the answer at 0. And the second example is the same thing. 30, 40, 50, it all take 1 days, and the 60, there's no days or temperature higher than this, so in the end it's 0, right? It's the same thing in another example here. There's some constraints, and the company asked this question. Facebook asked 17 times in the last 6 months. It's a great question to practice one of the concept called monotonic stack. Basically, that stack will be in order. It's a data structure. It's a stack where the elements are all in sorted order. So what I'm going to do is that, of course, the most easier way you can solve this problem in the brute force way. I'm going to show you how you can solve this in brute force way. You basically just compare every single element and calculate the difference and the temperatures. I'm gonna calculate the length first for the entire array, and then I'm gonna set the result to 0, and then multiply n, basically the length. That will be the answer that I'm looking for. Basically, I write all the output for 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Set them to 0, because in the end, the last two, I can't find the answer. I simply don't need to update them, and I just leave them as is. So I'm gonna go through the for loop to iterate through every single element in this array. So for day in range n, right? And then for day 2, basically the second day after the next day in the future day in the range. It's not day 2, it's not like it's just meaning any future day. I will start for any future day, I will start from index 1 in this case, the day plus 1 in this case, and then until n, because the future day will always be bigger than the previous day, right? So if the temperatures day 2 is bigger than temperatures day. So if the future day's temperature or any, when I go through the list, the day, each one of the lists, if it's bigger than the previous day already, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna calculate the results day, that result day's value to the future day, basically the day 2 minus day 1 in this case, right? And then I'm gonna break it so that it will go back to the entire loop to calculate the second day, instead of going through every single number that means the break means that once I find the answer, like 74, I already found the answer, right? I want to break it out and I want to go through the original for loop for day in the range n. Otherwise, if I don't have the break here and it would just calculate 75 and 71, it's totally, which is totally not necessary, because once we find the answer, we want to break it out, right? And then in the end, I want to return the result. Yeah, I meant day one. I meant day. So this is you can totally brute force it, but I'm gonna show you how to do it the monotonic way. So for the monotonic way is that let me write it out actually. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the index, right? And I'm gonna write 73. I should make a little bit bigger. 74 and 75 and 71, 69 and 72, 76, 73. Let's just iterate through the entire first example so you will have a clear understanding how the monotonic stack works. So for the result, I'm just going to initialize all the result to 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 0, and 0, right? That's just easier for me to not having to update the ones that is afterwards. And then besides that, I'm also gonna have a stack. The stack, I'm gonna keep the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna write a stack, and when the stack is empty, I'm just going to append the day value. This is the index is basically their day value. I need to put it here. Yeah, this is better. So I'm just gonna write a value here if there's nothing in the stack, and if there is something in the stack, and if there's a value in the stack, and if the current temperature that we're looking at is also higher than the previous value in the stack, which is true in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this value and set the previous day's value equal to the value we just popped. It was 0 before, right? The previous day equals to 0 right now. And then I'm going to calculate this result value, what it really should be. So the result in this case, it should be the current day minus the previous day, if that makes sense to you. So in this case is 1 minus the value that we popped, which is 1 in this case. And after that, I'm going to append the value 1, which is the current day's value, which is 1, to the stack here, right? So then I'm going to continue to check the second. So we're at day 1 here, and I'm going to continue to check the next one. Is it bigger? Is the 75 bigger than 74? Yes, it is. So I'm going to, if it's bigger, then I'm going to start popping the value from the previous one. So from the stack. So currently the stack value is 1. So the previous day, after I pop the previous day, will equal to 1. And then after I pop it, I'm going to have to remove it from the stack, right? So I get the previous day value. And then, so the result for the result at index 1, it should be the current day minus the previous day. So the current day, the index is 2, right? And a minus 1. In this case, it will be 1 because 2 minus 1 is 1 in this case. And then after that, I'm going to append the current day, which is 2, to the stack here, right? And then after that, and I'm going to check the next value, which because I already calculated this two and I'm going to calculate this one. So is 71 bigger than 75? It's totally not. If it's not bigger, then I'm just going to continue to append the index I, which is the day value, to the stack, and I'm going to continue to check. So is 69 bigger than 71? It's totally not. So I'm going to have to append another value here. And then I'm going to continue to check the number 5. Is 72 bigger than 69? Yes, it is. So if it's bigger than 69, what I'm going to do is pop from the stack, right? Just like what I did before, and assign the top, pop the value to the previous day, which is 4 in this case. After I pop the previous day become 4. So when I calculate the result for the index 4 value, it will be 5, which is the current day, minus 4, the value that we just popped, which will be equal to 1. So that's why I'm updating the value here, right? Before I'm appending the next value to the stack, I gotta have to check is the 72 bigger than the previous one, that the two that we haven't calculated? Yes, it's actually bigger than this. So I'm going to, if it's bigger, then I'm going to calculate actually this value. And then I'm going to pop this value from the queue, and then I'm going to assign the previous day to 3. And then when 5, so this value will be equal to the current day, which is 5 minus the previous day that we just popped. So this value will be equal to 2. Does it make sense? Yeah. So then is 72 bigger than 75? It's totally not. So we can't continue this iteration. So we're going to have to continue on with the next value calculation. So then if it's bigger, so we're going to have to append a 5 here because we already finished this one. And then is 76 bigger than 72? Yes, it is. So we're going to pop the previous value, which is 5, and then the previous equals to 5. So for this guy's value is basically day 6 minus the value that we popped, which should be 1 in this case, right? And then after we calculate this, is 76 bigger than 75 that we popped? We calculated it earlier. Yes, actually it is. So then we're gonna pop the 2, and then the previous day will be equal to 2, and the this value will be equal to current day, which is 6 minus 2, which will be 4 in this case. And then after we check this, then we append the value 6 to here, right? And then is 73 bigger than 6? It's totally not. So we have to append 7. And is there anything else? There's nothing else. And they are bigger, so we're not going to do anything. And the stack will just remain have 6 and 7. And the result, we're not going to update it because they are already 0, 0. So that's exactly what we are looking for. Comparing the result here, 1142 1100, it totally makes sense to you, right? So basically all we did is, if we first check if the stack is empty. If it's not empty, if the stack is empty, we're gonna append the value, which is the day, to the stack here. And then if it's not empty, and also the value, the current temperature is higher than the previous day's temperature, so we're gonna pop whatever that's in the stack and calculate their differences. And then once we calculate their differences, we update the result. And after we update the result, we append the current day. And if the current temperature is smaller than the previous day's temperature, then we're not going to do any calculation. We're just going to continue to append the day to the stack until a point that we can calculate it later. So then that's how we're going to do it. And then I'm going to show you how to do this in code. So First, let's calculate the length of the temperature, and then result. We're gonna assign all to 0, right? And then multiplus n. So we just like how we write it before, result is all 0 0 at the beginning, and then in the end we just leave the last two as is, and we don't even need to update it. And for this we will need a stack to do it. So for day and temperature in enumerate temperatures, and while stack is not empty, and the temperatures stack -1. It's basically the last value in the stack for the temperature is smaller than the current temperature. If it's smaller than the current temperature, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna say prev is the previous day and equal to stack.pop, right? And then we calculate look at here, we calculate the previous day here, right? And then we're gonna update the results previous day. So because we're calculating this one here, results previous day is equals to the day minus whatever that is popped from the prev day. That's what we did, right? And if otherwise, we just gonna add stack dot append. We just gonna append the current day. The current day we're checking that basically is the index value to the stack here. If they are not bigger, if the current temperature is smaller, and in the end, we're gonna return the result, and that should be it. This is my biggest fear. I can't spell temperature. Yep. If you think this is helpful, please like my video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon with more Leetcode questions. All right, bye-bye.